Hello and welcome back to Legend of Zelda 3 Links to the Past. In this episode we will be going through, I think, a majority of Ice Palace. I'm not entirely sure if we finish this all up in one sitting. I hope we do, because I hate this dungeon, but not because it's a bad dungeon in and of itself. I hate this dungeon for exactly one segment, and it's at the very end of the dungeon. However, this dungeon does get to show off just how amazingly powerful the hookshot is. You thought the ability to kill choo-choos in one shot was actually nice. Well, the hookshot kills almost every enemy in this dungeon in one shot. Observe!
Including devil penguins.
I don't know what these are technically supposed to be, so I'm going to call them Qui-Gons.
Oh, come on, that's... what? On top of our Star Wars discussion, you're gonna compare Nightmare Penguin to Qui-Gon Jinn?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that, because you know what? Qui-Gon Jinn is fucking useless, and so are these guys. And also, Qui-Gon Jinn is one of the greatest threats to the Force that we ever actually had, and these penguins are like the primary enemies throughout this dungeon. So there.
We have lots of rhetoric against Qui-Gon Jinn. Some of which I only partially agree with.
Really?
I'm not. You might have to run it by me again how he's responsible.
Alright. Qui-Gon Jinn is wholly responsible for the destruction of the Force simply because instead of actually following Yoda and Mace Windu's command to return Anakin to his home and not train him because of the darkness that they sense within him and all the fear and all the shit that ends up causing him to turn into Darth Vader later, Qui-Gon decides to say fuck that, I want to train him because he's the prophesized child. Well, because Qui-Gon did that against the wishes of the Jedi Council, the Empire rose up.
Yeah, but only incidentally, because that was revealed to be playing into the hands of the dark side.
No, that was revealed to be playing into the hands of Palpatine. Palpatine would still end up having a majority of his power without Darth Vader, but he wouldn't have actually succeeded without Anakin.
Well, somebody had to kill those kids.
Yeah, but it didn't have to be Anakin. Qui-Gon could have done that.
Look, Qui-Gon's a good guy, and that's why they had to kill him immediately, so that the good guy would not be able to be the nice angel on Anakin's shoulder.
And yeah, and then they had Ben Kenobi do that, who's actually, I'm more the British angel on your shoulder. Don't like you all that much, but you know, I'm willing to fight alongside you and shit.
Okay, so I have only one answer to this rhetoric, which you're dropping on me, like Hiroshima. So does Qui-Gon do any of the Jedi have prescience?
Have what?
Prescience, the ability to know. Like the ability to know things ahead of when they're supposed to be known.
Well, Anakin gets that power through the dark side.
Maybe it's just the Game of Thrones. Everybody's fighting. God damn it is Star Wars after all. There's got to be some fighting, and there's no fighting without bullshit, especially from these ice statues who deal stupid amounts of damage when they touch you.
They do, but, you know, that's what the Fire Rod and Bombos are for. Yes, you can also use Bombos
well, what
to kill
if I didn't know
that? If you didn't know that, then you
killed.
Hold it, you never killed those at all?
No, you have to kill the ice statues in order to proceed the dungeon. I just remember distinctly dying in the freaking lobby of this dungeon because I just didn't get it. I didn't get it!
I mean, if you're playing the game normally, let me think. Do you have to have the fire rod in order to get here? No, you do not. You're supposed to have the fire rod when you get here. And you don't need Bombos either, so...
Can you kill those ice creatures with your sword?
No, you cannot. They are invulnerable to all attacks that are not Bombos or the fire rod.
Or Bombos. Gotcha. Well, the, 'Bombos' on one foe. It's like dropping a bomb on a single soldier.
Mm, Yeah, press the encyclopedia dark side power.
Bombos on one foe. It's like dropping a bomb on a single soldier. Well, the bombos on one foe. It's like dropping a bomb on a single soldier.
which doesn't actually do all that much damage in this game, if you recall.
Oh, yeah, I was almost gonna say Quake. Yeah, 2 keys.
Quake is still fucking terribly useless, and it's sad because I like what Quake does in theory. You know, casting magic powder on all the enemies in a room should be really cool. But the thing is, only like 1/3 of the enemies in the game get affected by magic powder, and even then, a majority of the time, if you're playing through the game with full exploration in mind, you'll usually be powerful enough to, well, you know, just deal with any of the enemies that get thrown your way.
Good. March. Slide. Traverse.
The ice physics in this dungeon are one of the worst parts about it. But to be perfectly honest, I don't really have all that big an issue with the ice physics, except for a couple of rooms. The big issue with the ice physics is that it just flat out disables these ledges, and it makes traveling in these more claustrophobic rooms a bit of a hassle.
Well, of course, everybody loves a narrow pit that you can't really maneuver yourself on without, maybe dying.
Now, is that narrow pit capitalized as a proper noun?
Is what capitalized as a proper noun?
The narrow pit that you mentioned.
Yes, the narrow pit by definition is a place where fuck you happens. I mean, narrow walkway.
Alright. And the whole reason I reset this room was so I don't have to take spike damage, although honestly a single heart of spike damage is not really worth resetting the room.
So far, this dungeon has been pretty easy. I must say, there have been no... This is not really a maze.
This dungeon is mostly cake. Without the hookshot, though, and yes, and randomizer runs, you can easily... Matter of fact, you usually end up coming into this dungeon without the hookshot and a randomizer run. But in a randomizer run, this dungeon is fucking ass.
Yeah, like case in point, the room right before this one, well, one of them anyway, you have to get across the pit with a hookshot. So, how do you even?
Well, you can also get across that pit with a magic cape, or you can just, you know, eat 1 heart of spike damage. Because again, 1 heart of spike damage is not honestly all that much, especially when you're at 15 hearts at the moment. And with that, we have successfully acquired the big key.
Yes, and let's proceed to the basement, where apparently there is a skull man waiting for us.
Yeah, but that's not where we're actually going. We are going to go unlock the big chest first. That way we can get one of the most mandatory upgrades in the randomizer run. It's not actually mandatory, but it's one of the most mandatory upgrades. Oh, also, on these ice floors, you can cheese out the stairs here by Pegasus dashing into them. It will usually allow you to not deal with the ice physics, which makes climbing down those stairs significantly easier.
Booga 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 booga.
Booyah! The blue mail.
Big chest meets big key. I am now blue man.
Alright, so are you ready for the most bullshit part of the dungeon, Cloud?
That was bullshit right there. We just took 3 hearts of damage just from touching him. Like, he's so cold.
Well, I will admit the amount of damage that you take from the ice statues is, you know, a bit obscene, but that's not the bullshit part. Please note that the blue pegs are up at the moment. This is important, and it's not clear as to why until we go down these stairs.
Spoilers. Those were stairs.
Not here, but in this room.
Right, the cauldron.
This room has exactly 1 exit. Well, technically there are 3 exits in this room. There's the entrance that we just went into. God damn it.
Fuck. Must.
Evil slowdown.
But... Fuck. Must. Fire rod. Minion.
Alright, so... You need the red peg. You need the red pegs up in order to actually finish this dungeon. Because in order to get down into the boss room, we need to go south from that room. However, what this equates to is, well, now we need to go around the entire dungeon. Literally the entire dungeon. Because the block that we need to push is the top block over there, and we cannot push the top block over there from where we are right now. We have to go all the way around.
And I imagine the map is not very helpful at deciding where the drop-down points are.
Well, there's only one important drop-down point. Evil ledge.
And evil slowdown.
It's not the slowdown that's the issue here, it's the ledges. The ledges are just flat out fucking disabled.
Oh my god, run. You have survived Super Mario World.
I tried to record Super Mario World, I did, but I always end up getting stuck in Vanilla Dome, man. Vanilla Dome is just... I hate Vanilla Dome, I do. And it's not fair, because Vanilla Dome
is ass.
No, Vanilla Dome is not ass, to be perfectly honest. Vanilla Dome is, you know, one of the more unique and interesting areas of Super Mario World. However, it also has the problem of being pretty much the hardest area in the game. I mean, I'm not really exaggerating there. I mean, it feels like I'm exaggerating, sure, but I'm not really. Now, Vanilla Dome has got some of the most difficult platforming to deal with. That's not the right one. At least I don't think it is. Nope, it is the right one. It's the bottom. It's the bottom left one. Okay.
Okay, now push the block.
So we do finish all this dungeon in one part. Cool.
Nice.
I don't need to kill the Stalfos. I can just go, but I'm deciding to kill everything because fuck this dungeon. This part of this dungeon.
Everything must die.
I'm remembering past playthroughs where the right side of this room is pointless.
So many things in the way.
So many. And down we go. In order to fight...
I know it.
Cold Stare.
Wait, but
this guy actually does have a name.
Did we ever go into the big room?
Stare. Yes, we did. We used the, Okay, the first thing that you want to do against Cold Stare, if you have it, is cast Bombos. You don't need to cast Bombos, but if you cast Bombos, you skip the entirety of the first phase of the boss.
Oh, nice.
And then from here, you can just spin attack him to win.
This guy's not very dangerous.
With the Tempered Sword, honestly, the falling ice is actually very dangerous. It hits you pretty hard. It's like 2.5 hearts even with the blue mail. But Cold Stare himself is actually pretty simple. Like 3 spin attacks per head, and he goes down. It's either like 3 or 4. At least if you have the Tempered Sword. With the Master Sword and the Green Tunic, it can be a bit more difficult. But honestly, Cold Stare is a pretty easy boss.
14 minutes later, we are done with
not as easy as the next boss, but... Now, is this supposed to be Rudo? I mean, she technically has a green dress instead of a blue one, but... This is technically Dark like Hylia, so... Our powers will increase if we mix the courage of the knights with the wisdom of the wise men. Only a short time remains until the gate of the castle linking the world opens completely. If you defeat Ganon, this world will vanish and the Triforce will wait for a new holder. I believe in you. Good luck.
Do you understand?
Alright, and in the next episode we will begin our trek to Misery Mire.